Oh, she's horrible. I've made a ghastly, ghastly mistake.
So yesterday, Sparrow came out with a great drop. Apparently, it looks, according to Cameron, that they're negotiating for Kennedy's leaving at Lucasfilm. It's up to the lawyers. And the reason why is because the Five Horsemen have basically told people in passing that she doesn't matter. She's nothing to worry about. So she's off in Paris. This is the last day of her so-called 2-week suspension, and I would say we should hear something about her status soon, because there's a lot going on here. And basically, her status may not be known until Lucasfilm is transferred to a different leader, which I know who the leader is. I can't say who it is, but he was actually in the meetings. So it's going to be very interesting. Also, the Five Horsemen are not going to just let any project get the green light. They want to bring Lucasfilm into compliance with Disney's new budgetary rules. So I know Doomcock has heard that there's a sale of Lucasfilm happening, and I have another article to read about ESPN or ABC being sold. I'm not convinced anymore because of the behavior of the Five Horsemen. They want to force Lucasfilm into compliance with Disney's new budget rules. What I think is going on is they're probably negotiating Kennedy's separation with her lawyers. And we won't hear about the transfer of power from one president of Lucasfilm to the other. In fact, she has nothing to do with the transfer at all. She's not there. Again, by the photograph I posted, she's in Europe. Today is the last day of her 2-week, quote unquote, suspension, and it doesn't look like she's coming back anytime soon. I think she just left town. And the reason why is because, interestingly enough, one of you subscribers posted something about the Twilight Zone movie and who actually cleaned up the mess and then ran away from home for a while. It was not Kennedy who was on the set that night. It was her then boyfriend, Frank Marshall, who was the one that negotiated petty cash to get those 2 kids on the set of the Twilight Zone, and that he was there with the law enforcement and fire department and FFA, and then he packed his bags, ran off to London, and authorities sent almost like a bounty hunter federal agent to go get him, to bring him back to talk about what happened. And he gave him, he was like, look, I'm not, I got to take a shower and everything. They left, he left the hotel, packed up, left the hotel, jumped on a private jet, and flew to Paris, and where he wasn't going to get handed over. What I think is going on is Spielberg washed his hands of Marshall. He's washed his hands of Kennedy. And that was indicated at the Indiana Jones LA premiere. Okay, so they're done. And yesterday, several people, we don't know who they are, resigned on protest from Lucasfilm because they were Kennedy loyalists. And the Nazgul were very happy with that. And they want to get her people out. So there's a second meeting happening probably today, and we may get names of people whose names we know. It's been very interesting following Flying Monkeys on Twitter to see what they're doing. They're all extremely quiet. Problem with keeping anybody like that around is that they will cause trouble for you because they're not going to like what you're doing. Okay, they've either been very quiet or anxiously tweeting happy tweets like Pablo's been doing. And it's like, dude, you've been caught. Now he's trying to cover up the fact he talked about the meeting. Whatever.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
So it really looks like these 5 guys who are basically now running Lucasfilm, making all the decisions and setting up for a transfer of power from Kennedy to whomever, are Bob Iger's enforcers. They are forcing Lucasfilm to comply with budgetary limits, and they're going to force Lucasfilm to give up, I think, a lot of crazy woke stuff. Look, Iger had no problem firing Latondra Noon. All right. So Wokeistan is dead. Okay. This guy does not get around. And now that he's got his contract extension and he's got the backing of the board and the investors, Wall Street loves him for some reason I don't understand. He probably can have Kennedy removed, which is what this is all about. So this is a transfer. Now let's talk about the Ray movie. The Ray movie is not happening. It is not an Iger wish. It was Kennedy taking advantage of him not being there at Celebration and not following his directive to take her Celebration. Okay. And it's patently obviously now what she did. The Acolyte. Considering there's nothing anywhere official about it at Lucasfilm, and the fact that what they found, smoking gun, is enough to send people to jail, I have to say you'll never ever see The Acolyte. No matter how much VR and Pro say, you're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's stupid to even think they would show that. It's actually insane. So Iger's getting ready to sell some entities. Maybe he will sell Lucasfilm. But I think now that looking through what we found out from Sparrow, that maybe the sale isn't going to go through now. And Hulu and ESPN will be better bets. Look, ESPN is worth the cash for somebody to buy, okay? And really, when you think about it, is ESPN something that Disney should be owning anyway, and ABC, okay? So, and they're both apparently up for sale too. So, this is Steph. I wanted to get my thing in about what happened yesterday with Sparrow. We should hear more news today. See you around the galaxy.